Right, it is Monday, the 22nd of July. We are here back on the daily market analysis. Thank you again for joining me on this session. Like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. And you can help me out massively by remembering to click on that like and subscribe button. Now, with all that said, a quick disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as education material only. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to a financial product, as your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Take that away. Now, looking at Monday, a whole bunch of nothing at all. Today, we had 9:03 a.m. Chinese loan rates, 1-year loan rates, 5-year loan prime rates down slightly. Doesn't do too much for us, so I'm not too bothered about that. But what has happened since Friday, since Thursday last time we spoke, but on Friday, like Diana was saying, Friday was quiet, not a lot of moves. Monday and Tuesday will be quiet too, not many news. Not a lot of news, but we did have that few headliners, so it has moved quite a bit, especially if you look at on the US yen moving at 100 pips to the downside. With the US yen dropping, you saw pound yen going lower as well. Okay, so generally it is setting up for some moves, not massive, but something to look out, still things to look out for, to prepare for potential setups and moves through the week. Okay, so just a quick look into there we go. Friday we had retail sales number for the UK was 2.9, expected minus 0.6, came out at a minus 1.2. With that on Friday, I think I highlighted that, I think I deleted that, but I highlighted that during the live stream. We did see the pound dollar push to the downside because of that minus 1.2 on the retail sales. Then following on from that, Canadian retail sales number on Friday night at 8:30 p.m. we saw retail sales number for the Canadians was 0.7, reduced or revised down to 0.6, expected a minus 0.5, came out at a minus 0.8. Core retail sales at a minus 1.3, so a big swing there. It was a 1.8, revised down to 1.7, came out at a minus 1.3. I remember this is when everyone was chatting away in the Discord group saying like, oh, look at the CAD, and I thought, too busy, I missed out on the moves. But in the scheme of things, it did move, but not by a massive much, or a lot. Not by a massive amount, okay? On release of the news, this was at, I'll move that aside. This was at 8. We saw the US CAD at 1.3710 or 12. On release of the news, CAD weakness because of the weaker retail sales numbers, so CAD weakness. So it pushed up. Within the next 2 hours, it went as high as 1.3747, so it's a good 30 pip move to the upside. Retraced back down this morning because of the dollar index retracing, and then now steadily climbing back up again. Still not yet reclaimed that high, that we saw on Friday. Looking for it to push up to test that resistance level again. So that was what happened on Friday. Today, nothing much, nothing at all. I think that markets are still moving in its bit of a trending or consolidation, looking for that breakout, looking for the news to cause that breakout. What we're going to have is PMI numbers. I'll tell you about the week ahead. Like Diana was saying, not much on Monday and Tuesday. But on Wednesday, we have a whole bunch of PMI numbers to be released for the Eurozone and for the UK and for the US. But most importantly, on Wednesday, 24th of July, we do have the Canadians, the Bank of Canada, with its interest rate decision, right? Bank of Canada with its interest rate decision. It was a 4.75%. Is expected to be reduced by 25 basis points to a 4.5%. Okay, so overnight rate for the Canadians, we're looking at a drop. I am very tempted to do a live trading session on the 24th. So if you want to trade live with me, make sure you join the Discord channel as well. The link is there in the descriptions. Then on Thursday, we have GDP for the US, advanced GDP quarter on quarter for the US, and then core PCE price index on Friday for the US as well. So yes, like Dana said, quiet Monday, possibly quiet Tuesday. I think that it will be quiet, but not absolutely doing nothing, right? I think that there are chances that we might see a spike or good retrace, but for sure we're definitely looking at a lot more volatility from Wednesday onwards, with not so much the PMI, but more the rate statements and rate decision from the BOC, the GDP for the US, and the core PCE. Remember, again, the core PCE price index for the US. Right, so a lot more volatility to come. Stay tuned, don't rush into it. With all that said, it makes the analysis for today and maybe for tomorrow a lot easier, because dollar index, well, firstly, the headliner is that Biden drops out of the 2024 re-election race, endorses Harris for nomination, for nominee. So we'll look at that. We look for that news to develop. It's not a certainty. Just bear in mind, it's not guaranteed that Kamala Harris, or Vice President Kamala Harris, will be able to run for president. Still needs the endorsements from the Democratic Party, right? So it's not confirmed. It's a high chance, but I think it's August 19th that when they have their convention that you will really know for sure. Okay, so take that away for now. Dollar index, let me see, currently sitting at 104.26. Take a couple of these away. Right, so on Thursday last week we were saying that it could retrace to 104. It didn't, it just sat along that level, and then it pushed up to 104.40, and it's still sitting around that point. So now if I look at this, I don't need this trend line. It doesn't make sense to push it up here. Yep, doesn't make sense to do that. Take that away. 23.6 is broken. The next one we'll look for it to break is 38.2. So we'll take that away as well. Okay. There we go. I have this as a round number, so we'll keep that there, and I'll keep that one there. Okay. So now we're looking at this. This is the picture for the dollar index. Today being the 22nd of July. Hey Basanta, how are you doing? Hey Stefan, good morning. Right, so why I have this, why is it not there? Okay, I have this point here. Not wrong, that's the level we were looking at. Yep, so I was looking at that point, 23.6 was that level that it needed to break before we could see further downside. There we go. That makes sense, yes. Okay, so now with this, looking for it to break 104.20. Right, so the thing is, with no major news, we're seeing the dollar index push down. Right, what you're seeing here is you should see this push down, bounce back up, test, push back down, bounce back up, test, push back down, bounce back up, test. I'm still looking for it to push back down. Okay, the thing is that I'm looking for it to push back down, and if I draw this again, you would see that I am looking for this push down, test, push, back up. I'm looking for this to come back down to around this 104 level and possibly do that, right? With an inverted head and shoulder and a neckline right across that, about that 38.2 level as a trigger, which is about 104.50 or 104.60 in the longer term, broader scheme of things, right? So that's what I'm looking at as an inverted head and shoulder. So what I would say here is that 22nd July, dollar index sitting there. I was looking for it to push up, but I think that what could happen here is that dollar index, if price breaks below 104.20, could retest 104 round number support. Right? So again, oh, sorry, I deleted that, but I like that picture there. I like that picture there, but I did that. Right? So to test and then look for that bounce back up. So if price breaks below 104.20, could retest 104 round number support. And then thing to highlight as well is that we're seeing a possible formation of inverted head and shoulder. There we go. Right, possible formation of the inverted head and shoulder that we see there. But it's not done yet, it's not ready yet. It does need to break that point. It is sitting right there. You can see that since Friday is sitting in that consolidation. Is not a given that it will break. Okay, but overall, I am looking for it to in the longer term, possibly turn back up again as it rejects that lower level move. Can I tell me why Kiwi is weaker compared to the other pairs? We'll have a look at that shortly. Interesting pattern on dollar index, V from down, double top from up. Yeah, so there is also that double top formation here. You see that. I think with that it could lead to that push down, but then looking for that round number level, you can see that it didn't really like that round number level. It broke down almost quite quickly. Within a day, push right back up into it. So I think that that round number level could be quite a strong level. Okay, so we're looking at that. Now with that, anticipating some possible downside, but overall, you know, more strength back up on the dollar, right? Brief, so essentially it's brief downside, maybe longer term recovery in strength on the dollar. Looking at the Kiwi, we're seeing that push to the downside. So question from Diana is, why is the Kiwi weaker compared to the other pairs? I think generally all the pairs are, I'll just do a quick run through, is all the pairs have been pushing to the downside. Kiwi pushing to the downside, Aussie pushing lower, pound sitting right across, Euro sitting right across but looking like it's formed a bit of a top. Swiss franc sitting right across together with the CAD, gaining to the upside with possibly that dollar index pushing it up, right? Or CAD weakness pushing it up. So I don't think it's particularly on the Kiwi itself, but we are looking at it trending to the downside. One big reason I would say that why it's pushing, it seems like it could push lower, is that it's just broken early this morning. It's just broken that 0.6 round number level. Right, it's just broken that level. Zoom in a bit. So this morning I was at that point, I was trading it down, got into a trade to the downside, it's bounced back up slightly, still looking for it to push back down as it stays below this 0.6 level. Okay, although I have my stop loss up there, I think that if it breaks up a bit over that 0.6, I might close that out early, but I'm looking for it to push back down. So now take that away. At this point right now, we don't need that. See that, I don't even need that for now. Take that away. That trend line makes sense, but it's a bit too far away to be relevant. 61.8 is there, I'll keep that. I'll take away 50. Okay, there we go. 61.8 is right at that 0.6 level. Alrighty, okay. So now looking at this, I would put this point as a bit of a resistance rather than a support. 0.6 is right there. If you didn't get into that trade during my live stream earlier today, what you could be looking for here would be either for it to come down to test this 5980 level, right, and possibly bounce, or to actually push to the downside. Remember, we're looking at it, the dollar index sitting right at this level here. It could push down, but we're looking for it to eventually, in the longer term, in the medium term, push back up again. So safer bet, I would say, is to look for that dollar strength to recover. If you didn't get in already, 5975, stop loss no more than 20. 20 I think is very generous here. Take profit will be down to 40, 45 at the best, right? Support level will be down here in this area here, so I'll keep that. Jamil, how you doing, Jamil? Fantastic trade on gold, holding the highs. We'll talk about gold shortly. Very nice. Okay, so on Kiwi, that's what I'm looking for. Let me see, one more check on this. Let me see. Okay, yep. So I'm looking for it to stay below that 6020 level, looking for it to push down. Okay, I'm happy with that. So 5975, 20 to 45 to the downside. So sell at 0.5975, stop loss 20, take profit 45 to the downside. Okay. You can see the dollar index trying to push, that's just sitting there. Okay, I'm happy with that. Then onto the Aussie, I know Haider did the Aussie to the downside. Anyone else got into the Aussie to the downside, let me know. This was something we spoke about on, I think Friday during the live stream. If not, let me see, Thursday, 6715, right? We're talking about 6715, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside. It took a very long time to get there. Right, only on Friday, early Friday morning, it triggered and pushed to the downside on 40 pips. So I know Haider got onto that. Anyone else got onto that? Let me know. Now we're looking for that continuation to the downside from this morning. But again, what I like to do on between the Aussie and the Kiwi is, to see that you have the Kiwi selling down. If we see that dollar strength, you have the Kiwi selling down. Now the question is, if we see a big dollar weakness, that could lead to the Aussie to bounce back up, right? So if it breaks down and breaks that 104 level, if we're wrong and it goes all the way down, then the Aussie could bounce from this point, very similar to what we saw here, right? So in this same area here, we could look for it to bounce back up. That's a resistance from this point down. That's 50. 23 is right there. I don't think it makes sense to look for that up. Oh, I'll show you that as well. Okay, oops. I'd have to take one away. Okay. So you can see that's actually starting to curve back up. If you look at the Kiwi, it's pushing back up. So it's going to sit, I feel like it's going to sit there a little bit before maybe pushing back down. Aussie, we're going to consider where it could push back up. I'm looking at 6685, stop loss 20, take profit back up to here will be about 45 to the upside, to that 50% level. That's good. Yep. Let me just do that to this point here. Right up to this point here. There we go. So I'm looking at this possibly pushing back up. Okay, 6685, 20 to 45 to the upside. So it's a flip of the Kiwi. It's going to be either or, right? 0.6685, 20 to 45. 20 to 45. Okay. Check my Kiwi. It's just sitting there, that's fine. So just what I had today was I had the Kiwi looking for it to push down, just trying to trade it, to go for a bit of a more medium-term trade to the downside. I was scalping yen lower as it formed that horizontal, as it pushed up and set right across, right? As it set right across, what you saw was once it broke out of that area, we did see a good 80, I'll zoom up there, right? Once it broke out of that area, we did see a good 80 pip move to the downside. So kept busy with scalping that lower. Okay, someone did ask a question about the yen to the downside as well. So I said that it was sitting in that consolidation. Here we go. It was sitting in that area, looking for it to break out the area to the downside. Now it is outside of that Bollinger. It's outside that Bollinger Band. So I'm anticipating, or rather waiting to see. I scalped it down, waiting for it to come back into the Bollinger, or for the Bollinger to catch up to the candle to sell it back down again. All right. So how it looked like is looking for that to push up, and then after that you can trade it back down again if we see that dollar weakness continue. Look at that, pushing down. So test and push back down. Yen slides ahead of European, so it's sliding, we know that. Okay, let's push back up. What I'm looking for would be a test and reject of this level here, which is 156.60. Stop loss will be about 40 pips. Take profit, I'll go down. I wouldn't go all the way down to here. It would be good if it comes all the way down, but I'll look for that body here at 90. Anyone has ads? Hey, if you see, I'll just skip the ad. If you see the ad, just go click skip. I don't know why it's coming up. I have seen it come up a bit more now. No idea why. Okay. It's like an ad break. Okay, that threw me off. Wait. Test, reject, yes, okay. 156.60. 60. Stop loss 40, take profit 90. Okay, there we go. So US yen, we're looking for that to continue pushing back down, but retrace slightly before pushing back down. So looking to sell at 156.60, stop loss 40, take profit 90 to the downside. Okay, now with that, don't need that. Pound dollar, you can see no pound news, but yet we're seeing the pound dollar push back up. Okay, pound dollar sitting right across, take that away, it's in that consolidation. Now with that, 38.2, take that away. I don't think it's found that. You can hold that. I like this support level a lot. I like this support level at 1.2860 a lot, which is this area. Which is this area here. Oh, what's happening? Go away. Okay. Something's happening here. Okay, now with that, looking for this to push back up. I can take away this 23, but you can see that level holding. So if it sits in this area, if it continues to sit in this area, especially above the support here, you can be looking to buy it up on, especially on that dollar weakness. 1.2960, stop loss 30, take profit 80 to the upside. I don't like the stop loss at 30. I think the stop loss could be 40, could be a little bit lower. I just want it below this point. Let me just check one more thing. That's 38.2. Okay, I'm fine with that. So if that's breaking 38.2, we'll have this at 30 then. Basanta said little bearish flag. Yes, I see that too. So you have that push down, take that away, and then you have that, and well, not really, I can't find a second point, but something like that. Right, you have that as well. But if you look at this as an overall big move to the upside, it's retraced back down close to that support, close to that 38.2, especially if we're going to see that dollar weakness push back down, then we're looking for this to possibly bounce out of that consolidation back up. So yes, I see that bearish flag pattern, but I'm just thinking whether it could, if it breaks above this point, then you validate that pattern. Okay. Actually, I like this point up here, 1.2950. Break above. I'll go a little bit higher, 1.2965. Then I can move my stop loss a little bit nearer as well. I like that more. right? So I'll give it that chance to break and have that space to move. 1.296525 to 75. Okay, so we're looking at this to buy at 1.2965, stop loss 25, take profit 75 to the upside. Okay, I'm happy with that. Then on to, okay, so like you were saying, Basanta, I actually like this one more, right? I like the euro to the downside. I like how it's sitting right across like that. Might not be that typical pattern, but I like how it's doing that more. And also, given that it's broken, there is a big upside. It's sitting along that 23.6 level. Looking like it's failing to break strongly higher. I would be looking for the same thing we were looking for on Thursday. No, this was today that I was looking at it. Break below that previous low. I'll be looking at, okay, I'm happy with that. This point here, 1.0870, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the downside. Right, so we're looking at this as, hey, the dollar might push down, bounce around in this point, or push down a little bit, looking for it to break and regain that strength. So I'm anticipating that the euro could bounce around here, but I'm looking for it to break to the downside. So 1.0870, 20 to 60 to the downside for the euro. Sell at 1.0870, 20 to 60. 1.0870, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the downside. Yep. Okay, and I just saw that on Thursday when we spoke about this. Go back one more. Right, on Thursday we did have the ECB with their rates decision. They kept rates on hold at 4.25 as we had expected. During the press conference, there were no major headlines to kind of jump at. Right, President Lagarde, clear about not committing to cuts. Right, not committed to cuts, ditching forward guidance. Unanimous decision. September is wide open, so they could look to cut. It comes down to, I'll tell you what, it comes down to if the dollar is going, or if the FOMC of the Feds is going to cut rates in September. I feel that the ECB had taken that first step. They have done their first cut. They're possibly going to sit there and wait it out and just go, now what's the dollar going to do? Because they can't be the ones cutting, waiting for the dollar to do something, right? So they're going to say, right, September is there, we could cut in September, but maybe we'll wait to see what the dollar or what the Fed is going to do. On Thursday, you'll see that on release of that news, right, we only saw the euro drop as we expected, not a big move there. So it only went from 1.0928 down slightly to 1.0910. So only a small move, very odd, not very fun. Right, not very fun. I used to love trading the ECB rates decision because you see a minimum of 100 pip moves. Right now, it's not doing too much. We're seeing it being very subdued, only a small move down. So I'm looking for it to sit in this area, bounce around, break to the downside, break 1.0870, 20 pip stop, 60 pip take to the downside. That is done. Okay. Then on to the US Swiss franc. Again, look at that. It almost sounds like I say the same thing about the US Swiss franc all the time. It's sitting in consolidation, it's between that support and resistance level. It did not break lower, so we'll take that one away for now. But as it sits in that area, what I'm actually looking for here on the US Swiss franc, you see, is that I have this. Right, I have it from this move down, we have it testing that 50% level, which is also that resistance level, and it's been sitting in that consolidation there. What I want to see here on the US Swiss franc is for it to break that resistance level, right? Look for it to break that resistance, which could also mean for that dollar to gain that strength back up. It's going to drag the US Swiss franc up. If it breaks that resistance, you're looking at 8925, stop loss 25, take profit 70.85 to the upside. You can see that last time it broke this area, we saw it climb massively, good strength to the upside, so I'll be looking for that. 8925, 25 to 85 to the upside. US Swiss franc, we look to buy at 0.8925, stop loss 25, take profit 85 to the upside. Yep, I'm happy with that. So it's sitting in that area. So it's pushed up, sitting in that area, looking for it to break to the upside that way. Then onto the USCAD, we spoke about this right at the start of the session. We saw the retail sales number lead that first push up on the CAD, on the loonie. Right there, 38.2 is holding, 61.8 is broken, we don't need that. We'll consider that point, okay? I think that would be my 23, there we go. So it's pushed up, it's found about the 23 level, and it's pushing up again. Wouldn't do anything, too near to that resistance level, so wouldn't do anything at this point. But what you see here is that how it reacted to this resistance level. Reaction, reaction. Okay, so what I'm looking for here would be push up, test, oops, wait, what am I doing? Push up, test, and reject that resistance back down again. Don't need that for now. So I want to see it test and reject 1.3785 to sell it back down. I'll be looking at selling 1.3770, stop loss 20, take profit back down firstly to this level. I like this level because of these 2 points. And 1.3710. You can even go down to 1.3700. That's a nice round number as well. Okay, so we're looking at that. With that, I would possibly think 1.3765, 25 to 65. Okay, a test and reject of that resistance. I'll look to sell down 1.3765, 25 to 65 to the downside. Look for this to sell at 1.3765, stop loss 25, take profit 65 to the downside. Right, so what you notice here is that as that dollar is sitting in that consolidation, right, and it's trying to form, or we're trying to figure out the bias of where it could be heading towards. We have a sell, potential sell on the Kiwi. We're could buy the Aussie up. We're looking at, you know, a buy or a sell on the pound and the euro. We're looking at a buy and or sell on the US Swiss franc and the CAD. We're really trying to cover, you know, the potential setups on whichever way the dollar is breaking. At this point, it's really undecided whether it's going to break lower to the downside or sit in that area and break up, or push down slightly and go head up, right? So we're trying to cover the different scenarios to look for a possible setup. Then on to the gold. Jamil was saying target of 23.48. Entire point was 23.47. Very nice. 24.73. Sold down at 24.73. Good. All the way down. I love it how Jamil picks right at the top. You know, it's almost like he can forecast where the top is. So he picks right at the top, sells it down to 23.48, which is right at the bottom, about there, about this point here. That's what, 23.49, which I like as well as the start of that move. I wouldn't do 23.48, or do 23.49 or 23.50, just in that area. So take that away because that's broken. We didn't see it break higher, but we know that's a high there. Why does it say support? It should say resistance. That's support. Okay. So what we're seeing here now on gold is that we have, it's in that support area, right? Or along on that support area, right there, right? And if it's going to break lower, like it's showing that potential that it could break lower, also could signal, right? If gold is going to come back down, means likely, not for sure, we're going to see that dollar strength recovery. So I'm going to look at this possibly pushing down from that support. Then we're looking at that to push down. So 23.87. I would say that, I think we don't need that. Let me test. Up there, right? It's broken. Yeah, it's all broken. All right, so I would say below 23.80. Below 23.80 to 23.50, that's what we'll get to. All right, needs to break 23, forgot, 23.80 to get to 23.50. 23.80 to trade down to 23.50. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. Now, we have Aussie yen to look at. Diana was asking about, where was it? Pound Aussie and pound Kiwi. So we'll do pound Aussie and pound Kiwi first. Oh, Lindy was asking about pound Swiss franc we were talking about just then. I said it needed to break that support before possibly heading lower, but it looks like it's trying to push back up. I would say that if you want to, I don't know whether Lindy's on the session, but if you want to look, if you're looking at the pound Swiss franc, I'll possibly be looking at it to push back up, break above 1.15 for the upside move. It looks like that support is going to hold. So you got your 20, oops, the 20 to your 40, 50, 50 to the upside. I'll be looking for that. Then onto the pound Aussie. Big move, continuation to the upside. Let's found that point. I know I should clear out my lines. We'll do that the next time round. It's still pushing up. It's still pushing higher. Why is it pushing higher? You can see on the pound dollar, we're looking for that to push up, while on the Aussie it's sitting relatively unchanged. Kiwi is relatively unchanged as well. So it's a pound dollar that's dragging or pulling the pound Aussie to the upside. Currently at 1.939, 1.940 is just right there. We, based on the H4 time frame, just want to check some levels. Next point is up there. Next point's up here, right in the middle of that 2 points. So back to the H1. I was actually thinking of 1.95, but I feel like this, let me see, that line is holding, that's fine, that's sitting right across, that's pushing higher. H4 line is up there with a big resistance up here. Yeah, 1.95. Okay, so I'm happy with that. The only thing that I'm not super pleased with is the entry, right? So I think that it's going to, it could push, I think it could push towards that 1.95 level, right? But I don't like the entry here. I would prefer to see it maybe sit across or push back down a little bit before pushing back up. So it's a bit similar to what it did here, right? Push up, sit across, push back down before pushing back up again. Then that's where I'll be looking at about 1.9380. Stop loss about 35. Take profit, you can go about 115 to the upside with a hesitation at 1.9450. Yep. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at on the pound Aussie. If you were to trade it up, if you just thought, you know, get in at this point and buy it up 1.94 round number level, you're looking at a 50 to a, you'll be looking at about that point there, about 40 pip to a 90 pip move to the upside, right? So a bit more aggressive in terms of an entry, break above that 1.94 level, get in 40 pip stop loss, 90 pip take profit, or sit there, look for it to push back down, test, and then bounce back up again. We look for that move up. Okay. Then on to pound Kiwi. Very similar, but you see that slow, looking like it might cross over back down. H4. Let's look for, ooh, no lines. Let me clear out those lines. Put that back in. H4, okay. It's right up there. Right. And it's testing. I would not do anything on the pound Kiwi at this point, right? Because the last time it broke, or last time it came to that point, sorry, looked at H4, this was in August 2023, almost a year ago, coming to a year ago now. So looking at the present, what would be actually more interesting if you did that, and that wouldn't even be good. I wouldn't do that. I would say that you want to see a reaction along this level. You want to see a reaction along this level where it could retrace. And you could be brave to try and sell it back down, but I would say that, look for it to sit along this resistance and then look for that move. There's a big strong uptrend that we've been seeing on the pound Kiwi. It's at a key resistance, so you want to wait for a reaction here at 2.16. Okay, do nothing. Look for that reaction at 2.16. Hope I'm answering your questions there. Okay, just saw the chat. Diana says, pound Kiwi, I'm waiting to retrace to 2.1510. Yeah, so that's where my arrow comes back down to. I think that if it does test and reject, it would probably come down a little bit further. It might come down a little bit further, so wait it out first. I don't think 2.1510 feels a little bit too near. I know why you are thinking of that, because of this point here and that gap, but I think that it could even come back down to 2.146 area, 2.1450 area. So in this point, I think it could even come down into this area here before bouncing back up again. Okay. So looking at your comments about the pound Aussie, it has been pushing strongly to the upside. Best to wait for that retrace. It is retracing slightly, ever so slightly right now. But best to look for that retrace. I think that you could even be looking at this on the smaller time frame, on 15-minute time frame, for it to retrace before pushing back up. On the H4, it's, what happened to my Bollingers? Okay, on the H4, it does look like it's pushing out slow. Yeah, it looks like it's going to come back in some more. Okay. Okay, there we go. Take that one away. All right. Then onto the Kiwi. Yeah, I think that it could retrace back down. If it goes to this point, yes, I do think it could go lower as well. Then onto the where was it? Aussie yen, yes. Aussie yen breaking lower down to here. Support. Let's clear out everything and start again. That's a big key support here. Now, if we're looking at this, that's a good level to pay attention to. So that's my resistance. I got my support and resistance in there. It is outside of the Bollinger, that's why it's coming right back in. US yen, US yen pushing back. So that's doing what we expected, coming back in to push back down. So that's why you're seeing the Aussie yen pull back in as well. Look for it to, Basanta was asking, right? So look for it to test and then possibly reject back down. I don't see, I think it's still sitting right across. We could see this push up. But I think that the yen, when you want to watch what's going to happen on the yen, whether it's going to retrace and push back down or break straight up, then that is going to relate quite directly to the Aussie yen, right? So same thing, you want to see you want to wait for a reaction here at 104.80 before you try and do try to figure out where the direction is going to go. Okay, so I hope you had a good session. We covered many different trade setups, many different potentials. The market is relatively, I wouldn't say quiet, but it's trying to find its next direction. If you have any questions, I will keep the stream going. Put it into the chat, let me know. If you are on Discord, message me on Discord, let me know as well. If not, then I'll see you all on the live stream later on, and also into Discord, and also tomorrow as well. Take care now. Bye bye.